So in this video, we're going to go over the MarketEdge tool and really look at those Medicare demographics and the quoting activity that we can generate within the MarketEdge tool. So essentially, there's really three things that this tool does, and this video is going to demonstrate two of those. One, looking at the Medicare demographics by state, by county, those 3 and 5 digit zip codes, and then as well as the quoting activity. So thousands of agents use our quoting tool every single day. So what we do is we take all of that data and map it so you can really see where agents are quoting. So whether they're quoting more Plan F or more Plan G, are they quoting certain ages? So you can run all of those different searches within the mapping. You can do it on a map view, you can do it on a chart view. So first, what we would just do is start by selecting the state. Now we can do the entire US if we wanted to, but in this case, of course, we're going to do South Carolina. So you'll select the state. Now the quoting activity, this is where if you were looking to see if how much a certain plan was quoted. So let's say, for example, maybe I'm just particularly interested in Plan G. Doesn't matter the tobacco status, the age, the gender. You just want to know how many agents are quoting Plan G. If I would leave this blank, it would just pull in any quoting activity. So that's really up to you. And then the quote date range, this is going to tell you in the last 30 days what has been the quoting activity. If you wanted to extend that out from January until today's effective date, or maybe you want to look at the last year of quoting activity, you can always make those adjustments here. And then the search type, we're just going to do the quote history. And then if you wanted to view it on a map, a chart, a table, I'm just going to start with the map view for now, and then we'll click Run Search. It does take a couple seconds here just to load and generate it. It's trying to gather all that quoting activity that has taken place. So sometimes the loading process does take some time. So here I'm going to zoom in so we can kind of see the entire state of South Carolina. Over here on the left, it's kind of like a heat map. So it's going to tell you the areas that are darker has the more quoting activity. So as I hover over a certain 3-digit zip code, I'm going to be able to see the quoting activity. So how many med sup quotes were ran. So that's quite a bit of med sup quotes in the last month for this Plan G. And then I can also see the population over age 65 and the population turning age 65, and then the med sup and Medicare Advantage enrollment numbers. Now this Medicare Advantage does say 0 because remember on that first page we were just looking at a med sup Plan G. So if I did leave that blank, it would have shown all of them. So as I hover over, you can see how these change. So in this area, there's not as much quoting activity. Again, the higher population area is going to have more quoting activity. But from here, I have my 3-digit zip code. Now I'm going to zoom in even further, and now I'm going to be able to take a look at the 5-digit zip codes. When I do the 5-digit zip codes, it's also going to bring in that household income as another demographic for you to look at as well. And then again, you have the population over age 65, turning age 65, and the Med Sup and Medicare Advantage enrollments. And then again, as you hover, you can see those different views there. So pretty easy tool to use. It's very interactive, allows you to really drill down into a certain area. Again, you can have a couple ways of exporting this information. So over here on the left, you can export all of this raw information into an Excel file. So you have those different quoting activities per zip code, or you can export it as an image if you wanted to see that heat map there. There's also a couple other ways that you can look at this. So if you want to look at it in a chart view or even a table view, you can do that as well. So if I click on chart view here, it's going to build me a chart again with the quoting activity for the state that I'm looking at. You can drill down further if you wanted to do a 3-digit or a 5-digit zip code. You can certainly drill down a little bit further there. But within this, you can build your own chart. So if you wanted to take a look at a Plan G and a Plan F together, compare different quoting activity for different age range, you can certainly do that as well. So here, it's just going to bring in, again, the quoting activity for a Plan G. So this is March so far, and then this is what we captured in February, just within the certain time frame of here, February 20th. Onward. So you can play around with this. You can play around with the different start dates here. Again, you can also add in different ages. So let's say you wanted to compare 65, 66, and 67 quoting activity. I can go ahead and build that chart. That way I'm just looking at those different age groups here. So I can see the numbers are a little bit little different here because we're just looking at those different age groups. But over on my X and Y axis, instead of maybe looking at the time frame, so as far as the month goes, if I wanted to look at it by age, I could do that. And then my series group, I'm going to select age. So now it's going to build this out for me in my series items, the 65, 66, and 67, so I can see how that quoting activity differs from those different age groups. So now here on this graph, we can see those 65, 66, and 67. So that quoting activity in the last month is really, really high for a 65-year-old in South Carolina, but not so much 66 and 67. Still seeing that quoting activity, but not as much. So we can do this by age, we can do this by plan, but it really gives you a good idea of what agents are quoting out in the field. If you have any additional questions on what this tool can do as far as looking at that different quoting activity and the Medicare demographics, I would be happy to answer any further questions that you have.